The third, which I know is an unpleasant thought, which is, and for parents out there, many of you are, that she just simply preferred the older son. And that this is an example of what can happen, that now that she lost her favorite, she doesn't know how to deal. It deepens the divide with the younger son. The movie doesn't tell you. It opens the idea, the question. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts, because the relationship, that was nothing. It's, you know, at one point, Conrad says, she hates me, she hates me. And Donald Sutherland says, she doesn't hate you. And then I think by the end of the movie, Donald Sutherland thinks, I think she hates you. I really do.
Yeah.
Did Redford have a view of what was going on there?
Well, if he did, he didn't share it with me. It was good for me to stay in a state of mind where I believe, the character believed, and therefore, when I was working on the character, that I approached it because the character needed to have a kind of, even if he was going through guilt and guilty for being guilty and grief and nowhere to put it until he meets Dr. Berger.
We're going to get to that in a second. Yeah.
It was important for me to kind of believe that she wishes if one of or the other was going to die, there would be, you know, that Bucky would live. So Redford and I didn't really even talk about that, but the book provided that kind of anchor. So I wasn't thinking about all the different possibilities of what her character might be going through. I had to be single-minded in order to
accept the distance.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's talk about Dr. Berger. By the way, I don't know if anyone's scoring at home, but this movie precedes Good Will Hunting by 15 years.
Yes.
And Good Will Hunting, is this going to upset you?
I should have done the part.
I know. Robin Williams wins the part. You could have.
No, but I would have been better.
I know.
I mean, he's a comedian. Come on.
So,
I'm not.
No, you've only won 2 Emmys for situation comedy.
Yeah, but I didn't have to be a comedian to do them. You know what I mean? I had to act to do them, by the way.
15 years
I'll talk to you about situation comedies and why they work.
So
they work because you do it real, and
Right.
the situation is the funny part.
So in the 19th,
I don't think it got me, but
I got it. I want to get
little idea about.
I want to get to this thing about the 1970s, which is something that, look, this is a New York audience.
Yeah.
Many of you are Jews. You have one therapist at least. Some have 2 or 3. You could use a 4th. But in the 1970s, this was just something that was not done. People, even on the Upper West Side, it wasn't that common that people went to therapists, that people attempted to commit suicide. This is a big deal. And so Mary Tyler Moore's shame that the neighbors know that Conrad attempted to commit suicide, this is a big deal. And I wonder whether the movie shook people up, that it introduced an idea that people didn't think about. Saying, you know what, maybe I should talk to somebody. You know, maybe it's not such a good idea to bottle things up. Connie comes to see the psychiatrist, and he says to Dr. Berger, he says, what do you want to accomplish? You say to him. And he says, I just want to be in control.
Yeah.
And that's a great
I'm
line.
not big on control.
Yeah, I love the line. He said, this is not what I do here.
Yeah.
I don't bottle things up here. I'm not about control. And Conrad, at the end, we see he gets the concept. But I'm wondering, do we know whether this movie might have had, this is the best friend of therapists around?
Well, I'll tell you something. Before we started the movie, I had a meeting with Robert in which he actually told me what was in the script and what we were going to do and what we were going to not fear from. And it was about the fact that I would say that I'm his friend. So I said, I don't know whether that really does work with the psychiatric community. I mean,
meaning that that's just not something professionally.
I said, I don't think they do that. I really don't think so. And I don't think that they're historically even, I said, you're going to get it from them, from the American Psychology.
I'm your friend, you can bet on it.
Right. But he said, I don't care. He said, I had 2 kids who
I read that.
Who had therapy, and it was never any good because they didn't care about the kids. And I said, I know, but they have
do.
other clients, and I said, they just don't do that. He said, we will. And I said, that was the answer. I kept thinking, that's why he did that character in the movie. All right, there wasn't anything about it in the book. Nobody ever said anything that psychologists don't do this or anything like that. He said, I want it to happen because it didn't happen with my 2 kids.
Isn't that great, though, that he makes the quintessential movie about psychiatry and therapy, and he thinks it's a failure? He actually said, I think it was a daughter and a son.
Yeah.
He said, I had a daughter and a son, and it did nothing for them, and I'm not a big believer, but we're going to win an Academy Award for this anyway.
That's when I said, then I'll smoke cigarettes.
You know, in a way, too, like people accepted those scenes and accepted what the sort of evolution of those scenes and how Conrad kind of comes out pretty well on the other end of it because of Dr. Berger and his unconventional way. So it was a great way to kind of accept that format of a patient going to see a psychiatrist, to have this guy be so kind of in your face and sarcastic. As he was. But the writing was obviously great, but it was taken to a whole other level with this performance.
Well, you gave him the conventional words that we use now, a truly safe space, a place to go. Do you think, when you look at it now, I don't know if the audience agrees, if you watch the movie now and you say, what the hell is wrong with these people? The swimming coach doesn't want to talk to him. His friends on the swim team don't want to talk to him. His parents don't want to talk to him. He doesn't have anyone to talk to. The mother is mad at the husband for mentioning at a Christmas party that he's seeing Dr. Berger. The mere mention that he's seeing, no one, at one point there's that scene in downtown Chicago when Donald Sutherland's law partner says, what's wrong with you? You don't seem to yourself anymore.
Right.
And he doesn't say, my son just died, for the love of God. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and there's the scene in the garage where Mary Tyler Moore gets after Donald Sutherland for the shoes.
Yeah.
You know, like she's fixated on why he wore the shoes, the certain shoes.
Well, how controlled she was, that on the day of the funeral, she was concerned about what her husband was
You
wearing.
showed that scene with Donald and me, didn't you, today?
Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to see it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're coming up. Don't worry.
No. Okay.
I just want, before we get to that, I just want to say.
I remember it.
Yeah, no, it's a great scene. One of the scenes that I love is after the scene we just saw, what I call the anti-Semitism scene, because the anti-Semitism scene is short, is where Mary Tyler Moore's mother says, well, you know, he's seeing a psychiatrist. And the grandmother says, the line is, I thought we were finished with that.
Yeah.
As if, I thought he came back from the hospital and we were finished from that. And then she says, what's his name? And she says, Berger. And they look at each other like, "Oi, Gewalt."
Yeah.
Like a Jew. It's a slight scene as if to say, this nonsense is done, the feelings is done by Jews.
Yeah, it wasn't intended to mean it was expensive.
How much does it cost?
Well, they could afford it. They could afford it.
But it was like, to your point, it was further reason not to speak about it in social gatherings.
Right.
Do you think